Hey there guys, Aldershot here, and today we're going to do an early look video into the Nightmare Cooperative. It's developed by Lucky Frames, and it will be on Steam sometime July, though the developer wasn't able to give me an exact date. And unfortunately, I never got an exact pricing when it will hit Steam either. So there you go. Usually I do games that are either still in development or hasn't quite hit Steam yet for this series on this channel, but the Nightmare Cooperative is a little bit special in that it is going to be on Steam. We just don't know the exact release date, and it's not in development. It's actually a complete game, but I'm throwing it into the series because, again, it's not quite on Steam yet, and because I don't know the pricing of the game, so it's hard to judge that value with actually knowing the charging price. But we are going to explore it. We're going to jump into a game now. Normally I'm not overly critical in my early look series because it's on games that are still in development or haven't quite hit Steam yet, but this one's a little bit different because it will be on Steam and it's not in development. So I might be a little bit more critical than usual in this series, but anyways, let's get into it. This is the Nightmare Cooperative, and you actually play as all your heroes. You'll see them here and here at the same time, and you use your keyboard, you know, your D-pad, and each direction that you move, you actually move all your characters at the same time, and the goal is to collect these items and treasures, and you can collect them simply just by bumping into them. But when you open up a treasure chest or collect a treasure, mobs will spawn. So it's kind of a risk-reward kind of action going on here. You know, you get your riches, but you're facing a tougher dungeon as you collect more and more. Sometimes actually better to negate the treasure and just make your way to the next level, but we're gonna try and not do that and get most, if not all, the treasures. Now each of the characters are kind of interesting in that they will have special abilities, and when they trigger they'll do a special kind of animation or pose change or something like that to kind of visually suggest that you're able to do that. So we'll collect this heart. That will refill our heart meter, of course. Now when you're next to a mob, and as you can see, each move will move the mobs as well. It is kind of turn-based in that way. When you're next to a mob and if you bump into them, they'll hurt you, but you'll also attack them as well. So we're gonna try, and actually, you know what, it's best to avoid the mobs altogether. No, actually, never mind, he's gonna hit us next turn, we don't hit him. So we're gonna use our ninja and bump into the mob down there and bump into him again. There we go. Now we did take some damage because the mobs hit us for one, we hit them for one. Some of your characters can do more than one damage, like the warrior here. When he's next to a mob, you hit space and he'll actually do a double attack, which is quite useful for offensive reasons. So as you can see, it's kind of puzzly because you kind of want to use these kind of walls to block the movements of some of your characters for strategic reasons, and it's all about placement. And not all mobs will follow you, so sometimes it's actually better to take an extra action just so you can see the mobs kind of starting to move away from the area you're trying to get to. So we're going to try and sneak our ninja into the door here. That's the exit point. Now we move up, we're going to move our warrior up as well, and he's going to get damaged by this mob here. So what we're going to do is we're going to press right, and that's not going to do anything for us. Oh, alright, never mind. Looks like we have to actually move. Alright, we're going to push left, which still doesn't do anything for us. We're going to move some of the mobs around. Oh my. You know what? We're going to use the warrior's special ability and kind of, there we go, slice them in two. And now we can just kind of push our characters into the next level, just like that. And that's basically the game. Now, as you progress through the game, you will collect new items. And as you can see, there are new party members to be collected as well. You can have a maximum of 4. Let's see, let's grab the barbarian over here. And what does he do? He knocks monsters away. Cool. Alright, so do we want to collect the treasures? We already have some pretty tough mobs. You know what? We're gonna think about that and kind of slowly move our way up to collect some of these items. Next turn, our barbarian's gonna get flamed, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we're actually gonna move him into danger, and then that way we can start doing some damage to him. So as you can see, it is strategy based. It is turn by turn. Again, it's all about positioning and collecting loot and all that stuff. And if you're not careful, your tunes will die just like that. The ninja can bypass mobs, which is actually pretty useful. The ninja and the cleric and the warrior are probably my favorite classes. And there's actually a fair amount of classes to kind of discover as you play through the game. But this is basically it, guys. There's really not that much more to it. I played about an hour and a half of it, give or take, trying to explore and find all the items and all that kind of stuff. And it's really just about going from dungeon to dungeon and kind of collecting the items as you go on, and kind of utilizing this sort of turn-based strategy as you kind of move on. And it does get a little bit more tougher, you know. New puzzle elements and new mobs will be introduced to you, and that will definitely serve its own challenges. We just lost our ninja, unfortunately. But as far as features and variety is concerned, this game lacks a little bit on that, unfortunately. I do have to admit, there's really no other kind of modes to explore. What you're seeing is what you get, but it is procedurally generated, which certainly will add some replay value to the game for sure. But unfortunately, it is a bit light on features. We just died, unfortunately. And because it's a little bit monotonous, to be completely honest, I mean, you are kind of doing the same thing over and over again. However, the actual gameplay itself, the mechanics, is fairly fun, I must admit. It's pretty interesting. I do kind of like this turn-based strategy thing that's kind of going on. It has its challenges. I've seen games like this before where it is turn-based, where when you move your characters, the mobs will move as well. I don't know what that genre is called exactly, but I've seen it before, and this is an interesting take on it, simply because collecting different classes is actually adds a bit of flavor to this game, and the artwork is pretty well done as well. As you can see, the visuals are actually pretty appealing. It's kind of have this fairy tale sort of cartoony style to it, and I certainly don't mind that. Actually, the illustrations are pretty well done, pretty well designed as well. It certainly has its own flavor, its own kind of style for sure. The art assist overall is pretty good, actually, for the most part. But there's not a lot of animations to speak of. As you can see, it's just really still sprites kind of moving left and right. That's about it. But it's simple design, I guess. I guess you can say that. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's a pretty interesting game. It does seem a little light on features. It does have its challenges, though. So you're into challenging, more cerebral kind of gameplay in your roguelikes, you might want to check out the cooperative. And yeah, it's not bad, actually. I don't know what the pricing is for this game, and that will definitely have a huge influence on the perceived value of this game. If it's like a little $5 game, I can probably recommend picking it up for sure. If it's anything more than $5, even $10, I might say wait for it to go on special, because it's not going to be one of those kind of main focus games that you're going to have in your library. You know, it's not going to be a game you're going to be spending hours upon hours playing. It's probably going to be one of those time waster little break games, you know, like where you're done streaming for an hour and you want a little break from the main game you're playing. You know, this might be a pretty good option to kind of pop open and try out. Or if you're waiting for microwavables, as I like to say, this is a really good game for that, because it only takes a few minutes to complete a dungeon. So there you go. That's the the game. It's pretty interesting. Again, if it's a cheapie, like $5 or so, I can definitely recommend it. Definitely does what it's trying to do pretty well. But if it's any more, you might want to wait for a special. But other than that, pretty interesting for sure. It looks good. It has some pretty cerebral gameplay, which I like, and I like the class system that's in this game. But that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys found this informative. If you did, you know, show me some love, like, share, fave, and comment. But most importantly, help me grow, feed me my vegetables, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Aldershot out.